Hello, this is Carrie Vacanti with Stampiphany, a great stampin' idea. Today we're going to make an ornament Christmas card. Let me show you what it looks like. It looks like this. I'm going to show you how to do the corners with our new Curvy trio punch, and also how to properly cut out your ornament and these gold foil accents. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is, because this is a gatefold card, I'm not going to fold it in half like I normally would for a regular card. This time I'm going to score it. Let me move these ink pads out of the way. I'm going to score my cardstock using the Simply Scored, and let me show you how I did that. I'm going to score it at 1 1/2 and then 5 3/4. So I'm going to put this up here. And I love having these little markers, because if you have several cards that you're going to be making, you can put your little markers in and just go with it, and you don't have to keep trying to think where you're at. So now that these are both scored, it'll fold to the middle just like I want. So let's move this out of the way. And let's score these. A little off here. All right. Now that I have that scored and folded, we're going to punch each one of the corners of our flap. Now, me personally, I found it better to put the curvy punch, the trio punch, on the table. Holding it in my hand for me doesn't seem to work, but if it works for you, go for it. So I'm just doing each one of these corners. And I'm making sure that the paper is flush against these little guides right here. Okay? You can see there's 3 different punches in there. We're going to use the notch in just a bit. So now that those are punched, let's go ahead and stamp those. I'm going to use the stamp set Embellished Ornaments, and this is the holly. And all I really want to do is get this holly, let me turn this around, just along the edge, just like this. And I'm going to do it to both edges. Turn this around. So you can see how my edges, like that. I didn't try to make them line up. That wasn't really important to me right now. I just wanted the holly along the edges. Okay, so now I'm going to take some old olive and a sponge. And I'm just going to sponge it. And I apologize if the camera wiggles a little bit. My table has a tendency to wiggle a lot, so I apologize. And I really only want to sponge this around the area where I think, where I'm going to be putting my ornament. Nice circular motion. Okay, so that's where I like it. Okay, so I'm going to glue just the inside. I wanted some vanilla for a couple different reasons, to make it easy to write. Not that this paper is that dark, but also I like a little bit of the vanilla poking out through the top and the bottom, as almost as if it was an accent piece in and of itself too. So let's go ahead and put some tape down and get this even. Okay, so the next thing I want to do before I set this aside is put a notch in it, and that's the other punch right here. Now the guides here go straight across, they're right here. So when you put your paper in, you're going to stop at the guides. I'm going to do it a little bit on the high side so it's out of the way of my ornament. Now to get these to both match up, I'm just going to take a pencil. Now if I put the mark right here next to the notch, I can't see it when I put it in the punch. So I'm just going to gauge it and just kind of put a little mark right here with my pencil. And I should be able to still see most of that when I push it in. I'm just going to line this little, there's a little notch, I don't know if you can see that right here. I'm just going to line that up with my pencil mark, and I should get close enough. You see that? That's almost perfect. So let's do our ornament. We're going to use the long ornament out of this particular stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp it in cherry cobbler onto some very vanilla cardstock. So let me do this. And I like to hold my ink pad for a couple different reasons. Number one, these new ink pads, they're spongy, so it's easy to get too much ink and then get ink all the way around, and I don't want to do that. And the other reason is because of my camera, I don't want it to wiggle the table. So I'm going to give good even pressure, and remember, it's not how hard you press, it's just making sure that you have good even pressure and you give the paper a chance to just soak that ink up, and you'll get a nice good image. Now, when you go to make your sandwich for your big shot, I'm going to use my magnetic platform and my 2 cutting plates that are obviously well loved, and a framelit. When I go to do the poinsettia piece with the gold, I'm going to use my multi-purpose platform with the tab 2 down, my precision plate, obviously my paper, which is right here, and my poinsettia, and this little piece here, I could do it here, I could do here. It's small enough, I'll just put it there, because then I can kind of both out at the same time. I do want to warn you though, however, you do not want to use these framelits, these ones that are just like the outline, with your precision plate. And I don't know if I can put this on the table and help you see, but see how it kind of goes, it's actually wonky. And that's because what happens when you use it with your precision plate, this metal plate under here, it actually warps your framelits. So make sure you just use your precision plate with these really detailed Thinlits. So Thinlits can go with the precision plate, framelits will stay with your magnetic plate. Okay, so this one is not too bad. I think I can still use it, but if you do use it too often, you could warp it bad enough that it won't cut, is basically what I'm trying to say. The words will come out sooner or later. So let's take my ornament that I stamped right here, and I'm going to put that through my big shot like so. Get this as even as possible, and put this, now this little washi tape here, I put washi tape on my plates because you should always be rotating your plates. So if I know where the washi tape is, then I can flip it over and I can keep rotating it as I'm cutting, and that wears on the plate evenly so they don't get super warped. I've had them get really bowed really bad and then they don't cut as well. So this for me seems to work out really well. So I'm going to go cut these out and I'll be right back. Okay, I have my pieces cut out, so it's time to assemble them. I'm just going to take some of my fine tip blue pen, I love this stuff, and I'm going to assemble excuse me, my ornament. So here's the little top, just like that. And then what I like to do with the poinsettia is kind of move it around till I see where it matches. I think there we go. So make sure I put that on right. Just put a few dots, mostly in the corners here, and a few in the middle. I don't want to overload it because I don't want it to sploosh out there. And if you have a pair of tweezers, I just am too lazy to go get mine, but when you're working with these little cutouts, that's not a bad idea to have some tweezers. So let me put this up. All the sizes and supplies will be listed in the description box below. So I'm just corner rounding one of these sides, and now I'm going to take my triple punch, my triple banner punch. I don't want it to go all the way in, just most of the way. And now let's go ahead and stamp that. I'm just going to stamp it in black. You could do it in the Mossy Meadow if you like, which is what we did the holly in. We're going to do a little bit more holly. We're going to do it right here on the edge, just to spruce up that corner just a little bit. Now it's still a little bit plain, so I'm going to take my Pear Pizzazz marker, which matches the base card, and just color in. Let's bring back in our card base, and we're going to need some dimensionals for the back of our ornament. If you haven't seen already, I love dimensionals. They're like my friends. I usually have gobs of them because I use gobs of them, but I just love how they pop things up off the card. Alright, so we're going to place this over that sponged area we did earlier, just like that. And then now we're going to take some tape, and we just need to tape right here on the top, on the little bottom of the ornament, just like that. And we want to make sure we don't put any tape here because we don't want to accidentally close the card shut. We don't want to tape it shut. Now the last step is to take some of our Dazzling Details Cherry Cobbler. It has some really pretty, and we're going to do our little berries. Now only one berry showed up, but you know, we're going to cheat a little bit, and we're going to pretend like there's another berry here. Because you know, we can do that because we're artists. Okay, and that's usually my last step whenever I add the details, the dazzling details or crystal effects or something like that. I always make that the last thing that I do, because then I can set it off to dry. I hope you enjoyed this card. It's actually a pretty easy card if you wanted to make several of these for our friends and families for the holiday. I hope you have a great day, and thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye now.